Jamal Niaz here with Joe Gallagher at the Joyce versus Parker press conference. Obviously you've got Mark Heffron out in this one. It's been a difficult year for him personally, hasn't it? Obviously dealing with the grief of the loss of his mum, but what a year for him professionally, achieving the British title, the Commonwealth title and the IBF. Just talking about how he's overcome that to achieve his dreams, but not being able to share that with his mother. How's it been from your perspective?
Listen, Mark, you've seen him at the public workout yesterday. He's flying. He's a kid that's on form. But like you say, it was a tough start of the year for him. It would be for anyone that loses the mum. And obviously then when you get the opportunity to fight for the British and the Commonwealth, the huge pressure that was on Mark, his manager, me, everyone, to be able to for him to win that British title. There was huge pressure on everyone in and around the camp for him to win that fight. And Mark sometimes puts too much pressure on himself as well. But as you see, he went in there, he won it, took care of business, and there was images afterwards where he took the belts to the grave and that, and I just feel the weight's been lifted off his shoulders now. Mark is a different kid. He's back to what I always thought he was, which is an exciting fighter that comes to seek and destroy, and hopefully he'll carry on where he left off on Saturday night. It's good to have a homecoming fight, 8-rounder, and I'm sure he'll entertain and excite the crowd again, and hopefully, you never know, a year from now we could be back here again with Mark Heffron possibly challenging for a world title.
Obviously it's not a title fight for him this Saturday. I asked him yesterday if there was less of a element of danger because of that, and he said absolutely not. He's taking it as seriously as he would any other fight, but it is important to keep him ticking over and getting those fights, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, of course, as you know and I know, in the gymnasium that we're at there's no taking the eye off the ball. Every fight's a hard fight, and even Callum Thompson, who's on first on the undercard, he's in a really hard fight in a 4-rounder against Elmar Thomas. So they're both training as all they're fighting for titles, and like I say, Mark is on it, and like we said, it was good to get him out again in Manchester, keep his profile going, keep him busy, keep him active, and I think the crowd warmed to him. He's done loads of tickets again, thousands of pounds worth, hundreds of tickets sold, and if we can build on that, I've said to Frank and them and Kevin, like, we could possibly have a little crawler here that over time, over the next 2 or 3 shows, with the momentum and it builds, he could be doing, I'm not saying he can sell out the Manchester Arena 20,000, but we could be doing it 8,000-9,000 at the arena in big fights and a good undercard, and I think there's no one in Manchester at the moment ready to step in and carry the flag. I think Mark Heffron is in that place to be able to do it. He's British, he's Commonwealth, he's 30 fights, and he's an exciting fight, and he's got a killer smile. So I do feel he is a kid, most probably, that could be in the right place at the right time to take over the baton in Manchester.
And how's Tasha doing as well? I'm guessing that she's given herself a bit of a break and patted herself on the back because she deserves it. What an incredible year for you both. I've not actually got your reaction to how that was in Liverpool. How are you feeling towards it now that you've had time to reflect on it?
Yeah, listen, it was a great night for Natasha. It's like anything when she won the world title in Manchester. Now to go and win another world title, the WBC one in Liverpool, in front of all the friends and family. It's great. Like I say, it's been a great year for her. The WBC belt came yesterday, so you might see social media images of her with the WBC belt and her daughter with both belts. So I'm really pleased they arrived for her yesterday, and she's back in gym, back in training, and there's a possibility she might be out before the end of the year again in another huge fight. So listen, Natasha, she's enjoying her role as a world champion. She's a model world champion, and she's a great ambassador for the sport of female boxing.
I know that you were on the BT broadcast last night. You got the chance to speak to both of the main eventers. Just in terms of what you heard from them and what you gauged from them in terms of the body language, what did you make of what they had to say, and what do you make of the matchup? It's an incredible matchup, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great matchup. Joyce didn't really need to take this fight. He's number 1, he could have sat on it, but he's decided to fight number 2. Now there's a interim title on the line as well. It just raises the stakes a little bit more, but both fighters and the teams were very relaxed, very confident, and very focused, and they were both looking forward to it. So you cannot be impressed by the size of Joyce, the juggernaut, but obviously Andy Lee and Joseph Parker, they've done the homework, and they're very confident on pulling off the upset as well. Joseph Parker's fought at the arena 3 times before, 3 wins, so he's very comfortable in these surrounds. So it's got to be a good fight, and it's a very hard fight to pick. Most of the people are going for Joyce because of his power, but there's also Joseph Parker. We've seen last time against Derek Chisora performed very well, and the adjustments and the things that he's learning in camp he put to the test there. So it's a good fight. It's a difficult one to call. But I think that's why lots of people, and you can see by the turnout today, are interested in this fight. It's really gripped the imagination of everyone.
Who would you sway towards if you had to pick one?
I changed my mind. I said Parker yesterday, then I've said Joyce. So ask me tomorrow, I might change it again. So at the moment, slightly might go with Joyce now, but it was Parker yesterday, and that's what I mean. You just sit down, you think you're being around them, but I'm slightly swaying towards Joyce at the moment.
I asked Higgins and Salas their opinions on the rematch clause, which has kind of not overshadowed the event, but it's always been in the background of the conversation from Joyce's perspective. What have you made from that, the need for a rematch clause from Joyce's perspective?
I think with the heavyweight division in particular, these rematch clauses, they're killing the sport. They're holding on to the belts, and there's fighters there in the heavyweight division that could be fighting and moving on. I don't seem to see it all the time in most of the other weight divisions, rematch clauses, and I think especially when you're mandatory challenger for a heavyweight title, there should be no rematch clause, and the best man wins and move on, and the other one rebuilds and goes again, like it always has been in the past.
I have to ask you as well, AJ Fury, that talk has really heated up since we last saw each other. Do you think that actually happens in December?
I think there's a strong possibility. I know contracts have been exchanged, and listen, the initial agreements of dates, venue, purse, I think from what it sounds like they've all been engraved. It's all other things that can be in a contract. So between the two of them, I suppose they're thrashing it out. There's an intent on both sides for the fight to happen. Both fighters are in the gym training, and it'd be great if it did happen. But if it isn't, just come out and say it isn't. And sometimes when this thing goes on and on, you just get, I've seen on social media, a lot of people go, flipping hell, just tell me when the fight's done. Do you know what I mean? It's getting so long-winded now. A bit like Mayweather package. When it's done, just let me know and I'll do it. Yeah, no, do you understand? And I think a lot of people are getting like that. But like you say, it'd be great if it did happen, and what a great Christmas present it would be for British boxing fans. But if it's to happen, there should be news now in the next week or so, because of the size of the event. They've got a stadium, but fighters want to fight. It's just a case of crossing the I's and the T's, it seems to be at the moment.
From your perspective, would you say that that's a tougher fight for Fury than the Wilder fight?
No, Wilder's tougher.
Why would you say that?
Fucking hell, Wilder's one of the most biggest punchers in our modern era, heavyweight boxing. Yeah, that's Anthony Joshua. Who's he beat? Tell me Anthony Joshua's best win.
Off the top of my head, I mean, he impressed a lot of people, didn't he, how he overcame Ruiz in the rematch? You'd have to say that with the magnitude.
Overfed himself and wasn't in shape. Go on.
This is not my job, Joe. You're putting me on the spot here.
So I'm just saying, what's his best win? So that's why Tyson Fury taking on Deontay Wilder and an earlier Klitschko in his own backyard, and them two wins absolutely blow anything out of the water. Oh yes, he fought Charles Martin. Come on. Do you know what I mean? And there is Klitschko, they pulled him off the settee to get in the ring for him. Being retired 18 months, hasn't he? So listen,
that is one that people talk about a lot, isn't it? The Klitschko one, like the star-making moment for him. But you don't see.
No, don't see it at all. But there is improvements in the camp, and there's improvements. Anthony Joshua is a fella that wants to improve all the time, and you can't knock that. But when you're telling me, is Joshua a harder fight than Deontay Wilder for Tyson Fury? No, it's not.
Another thing that's been discussed as well is Eddie Hearn's comments on a potential Usyk versus Wilder fight. I'm sure that you've seen it, where he said that he doesn't think Wilder would win a round, but he feels that he's got the power to cause massive problems. Is that something that you would absolutely agree with as well? Yeah,
like Deontay Wilder always said, you need to be on your game 36 minutes. I only need 1 second in a fight and I can win the fight, and that's true. Yeah, Deontay Wilder, Usyk could be outboxing Wilder and everything else, but Wilder carries that punch and that fear, and I think it's great that he's coming back. I think he adds real buzz and excitement to the heavyweight division.
Perfect. I'm going to let you go, Joe. I know you're a busy man. Appreciate it.